We'll give it like one more minute. We'll just give it like one more minute, folks. But everyone looks beautiful.
I was telling them, I was like, it's Palestinians, it's Cuba, it's like, and they were like, you guys need to call her off and say thank you. It's over 100
Every time they come to the office with Bonner,
nice, beautiful. Yeah.
I'm trying to live up to the sun right now. Hey, how are you? I'm liking that blazer. That is nice. Like diva. Don't after me.
Both of the signs could just come in a little tighter so that we don't lose on the sides.
I got it. So.
Let's go. And then what do you want me to do? Greg's not here yet. Let's just keep going down the line.
Okay.
And then we'll just go from there.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to get started. Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. My name is Pramila Jayapal. I'm the proud chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. I want to thank my colleagues from the Progressive Caucus that you're going to hear from in a minute for being here and for joining us to celebrate and lift up our 2025 proposition agenda. This is our day one agenda for 2025. And I especially want to thank our partners from the progressive movement that are here and have been doing so much work around the country to really build the excitement and the momentum for this agenda. Sulma Arias from People's Action, Ezra Levin from Indivisible. Notice he's wearing an Indivisible Washington shirt. Mahyar Sarur from the Sierra Club.
A minute so in.
Julia Santos from National Nurses United, and so many of our partners that are here with us today. We are here today as Democrats tout an incredibly impressive record, the largest ever investment in taking on climate change, record and ongoing student debt cancellation that will help cancel student debt for up to 30 million Americans, the longest streak of low unemployment in over 50 years, and real progress in taking on big pharma and lowering prescription drug prices. Most importantly, even beyond all of those specific pieces of legislation, we are working to show that government has a real role to play in creating an equal playing field. We like what we've done. We're proud of what we have to be an opposition party, that we are better than the other guy. We really are better than the other guys, okay? But we also know that we have to lay out a vision and call people into that vision of what we are fighting for when we take back the House, the Senate, and the White House. And so that's what this 2025 proposition agenda is about. The people of this country want to see us rewrite the rules, not continue the status quo. They want to see us lower the cost of living so that economic security is not just a luxury for the rich. They want to see us eliminate housing insecurity and child poverty through ambitious investments and policies. They want us to boost wages and to strengthen worker power. They want to see us advance justice to not only restore freedoms that have been ripped away, whether voting rights or access to abortion, but also to ensure that unelected judges and mega politicians do not and cannot single-handedly control our futures. People across this country want us to put money and energy into communities that are affected by the climate crisis, not continue to subsidize big oil. They want our democracy to work to end corruption so that the government is actually working by and for the people. They want us to tax the rich, and they want us to break up monopolies and put the power of our economy back into the hands of people. They want us to invest in our public schools, to raise teacher pay, and to make college affordable. And that is where the Congressional Progressive Caucus proposition agenda comes in. Progressives in Congress, progressives in the movement have consistently pushed for Democrats to use their governing power for those who need it the most. Now, you're going to hear more from my colleagues about specific pieces of this agenda, but let me tell you the 7 major tenets of the proposition agenda. Number 1, lowering the cost of living. Number 2, boosting wages and worker power. 3, advancing justice. 4, protecting our planet and our people. 5, making our democracy, providing a world-class public education to all. These are the things that matter to people across our country. That's why new polling shows that the core policies of our proposition agenda appeal across the spectrum, really enjoying 70% to 90% approval, with support coming not just from Democrats, but from independents, rural voters, and even Republicans. We believe that the real swing voter isn't deciding between President Biden and President Trump. We actually believe that the real swing voter is deciding whether or not they want to vote at all. If we want them to participate, if we want the base of the Democratic Party to show up and organize, we need to give them something to organize toward, something that acknowledges their current challenges, but also inspires them to fight for us to be able to get back the trifecta so we can get these things done. And that is exactly what our proposition agenda is. It's time to organize. And with that, let me turn it over to my excellent Deputy Chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, Representative Ilhan Omar.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I am really excited to be here to celebrate the progressive agenda. I am honored to be the deputy chair of this caucus, and I want to thank our incredible chair, Chayapal, for her steadfast leadership in bringing transformative change to the American people. We know the agenda we have outlined is not only good policy, but it is popular with the American people. Members of our caucus have worked to bring the hopes and the dreams of the people we represent into legislative victories our constituents could feel. And together we have made the impossible possible. Together we have worked to ensure the Inflation Reduction Act was the boldest climate package ever. Together, we have worked to bring financial relief to millions of families during the COVID pandemic. Together, we have pushed the President of the United States to cancel $146 billion in student debt for 4 million borrowers. And all of this progress would not be possible without the tireless work of every single member of our caucus who work together to make these wins possible. Although we have made significant strides, we still have a lot of work ahead of us. As someone who represents one of the youngest districts in Congress in the country, as a member of the education and work for the lives of every young person in this country, from increasing the Pell Grant eligibility to passing our Chairwomen's College for All bill, to the universal school meals, to fully funding IDEA, and getting full student debt cancellation. We have to use every single tool available to us to alleviate the barriers our young people are facing. We have to see young people's call for systematic change. It is time to make sure their calls for change is a reality. I know we can do it, and let's get it done. Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And now it's my great honor to introduce the whip of the Congressional.
Everyday people, and not just for big corporate interests and special interests. That's what the everyday person wants to hear. That's what they want to know. That's what they're longing for and what they miss. In states like Texas, the majority of registered voters choose not to vote. They don't choose not to vote because they don't care. They don't choose not to vote because they don't know. They choose not to vote because they know. They know that too often the policies that are pushed on this House floor are not for them. And the agenda that we overwhelmingly or have endorsed and are guaranteeing as our pledge moving forward, if we regain this House and hold the Senate and the White House, is an agenda that is for everyday people. It is for them. It is for the people who choose not to vote. And when those folks hear from us all across the country talking about this agenda, that's what it is that we need for those people that are paid too little and work too many hours, for them to say, there's hope in this country and there's a way that this democracy can work for us. So I'm just so proud to be a part of this caucus that is not only just pushing the most progressive ideas forward, but it's pushing forward the ideas that make sense to the everyday person. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We have so many of our amazing Progressive Caucus colleagues. Before we get to them, I want to introduce a couple of our movement partners to speak next. And so let me introduce to you Ezra Levin, the co-executive director of Indivisible, an incredible partner with us in moving our progressive agenda forward. Ezra?
Oh gosh, I saw Representative Kassar running up. I thought I was going to beat him to the podium, but fastest member of Congress over here, that wasn't going to happen. I do want to thank Representative Jayapal for inviting me here. I did especially wear the Washington Indivisible shirt. I know the folks in the 7th District love her all over the country who have been doing this work year in, year out for the last 7 years to fight for our democracy and fight for our government of, for, by the people. And a lot has changed in the last 7 years. A lot's changed. The biggest thing that's changed is that Donald Trump isn't in the White House anymore. We're going to keep it that way. But that's not all we're going to do. That's not all we're going to do. Look, there has been, I think, a lot of good coverage of the danger of a second Trump term, of this administration of retribution, of this effort to ban abortions, of this effort to consolidate power in the White House, of selling favors to the highest bidder. That's scary stuff, and I'm glad we're focused on that. But that's not all this election is about. That's not all what we're doing right here is about. And I'm so thankful to the Progressive Caucus for focusing on what is that alternative? What are we going to do if the alternative does arrive? If we are going to be here in 8 months with the Democratic trifecta, what is that trifecta going to do? And let me tell you, the Congressional Progressive Caucus, the folks here, the members here, they're going to be leading the way. They are not a problem causers caucus. They are a get shit done caucus, and I know that. I know that because I saw what they did the last trifecta 2 years ago. You look and see 25. That's what we're going to do. So we are living through this in a chaotic year, and we are fighting the fires that are foisted on this republic by MAGA and Trump, who should be upholding democratic principles. That's what they should be doing. They're not doing that. I am incredibly thankful. And I commend the Congressional Progressive Caucus for, yes, trying to put out those fires, but not just focusing on the immediate dangers in front of us, but building for the future, talking about what are we going to do when we're past this immediate crisis and we have an opportunity to rebuild. That's what this agenda is about. And Indivisible are groups all across the country in red, blue, and purple areas. They're calling for this agenda, and they're behind the members that are going to be pushing it forward next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It is now my great honor to introduce somebody who's been a mentor to me, a leader in this body.
That's why we put forth our proposition agenda. And among these progressive pillars and ideas is a plan for advancing justice. Of course, I know a little bit about advancing justice as a Black woman in America and as a person who was born and raised in the segregated South in El Paso, Texas. I know what this means for so many people. Republicans continue to try to turn the clock back, but we won't let them. Progressives are going to move us forward and demand a just future, and that is what we're doing. We demand, yes, full reparations for the systematic injustice of the past. We demand an end to the war on drugs, legalizing marijuana nationwide, and freeing all people locked up for petty nonviolent crimes. We demand to feel safe and respected and treated fairly in our communities, no matter who we are, our race, gender identity, sexuality, or immigration status. And we demand to have our basic rights and freedoms, like the right to an abortion protected in federal law, and that housing, yes, is a basic human right. We also demand, as part of our advancing justice agenda, a living wage and quality health care for everyone. That's part of our justice agenda. Our CPC proposition agenda is just that. It's an inclusive vision of what our nation could and should be at its highest potential. Now, as a former chair of this caucus, I have watched it, as I said earlier, grow from a minority of members committed to progressive ideals to a powerful force within our party. And I am so proud of everything that we've accomplished for the poor, for working and middle income people in this country, but we have a heck of a lot of work to do. And so together, I know that, and we talk about rebuilding the American dream, but it's turned into a nightmare for so many people, but for so many who benefit from our advancing justice agenda, it never was fulfilled. And so we have got to make this American dream real for everyone in this country. And that's what this agenda, a plan for advancing justice, is all about, making these dreams that the potential of America can be for everyone in our country. And we can do this. And I want to thank you, Chairwoman Jayapal, and thank the Progressive Caucus for making us all proud, first of all, but standing beside and with the people of our country who really deserve a heck of a lot better than what these MAGA extremist Republicans are trying to do to their lives. Thank you again.
Let me now introduce another incredible movement leader, the Executive Director of People's Action, Sulma Arias.
It is so great to be here. I am Sulma Arias, and I am here representing a network of 42 affiliates across 30 states. And no matter what I've done in the last 25 years of my work, at heart, I'm a community organizer. And let me tell you that there is nothing that gets a community organizer more exciting than seeing a plan of action. And if you look at my plan, and since the first time I read it, I have underlined it, highlighted. I am excited about this, and our community and our network is ready to get to work to make it real. Because when I talk to people across my home state in Kansas or across the 30 states that belong to our network, I hear the same things. Our people have been struggling to pay rent due to the greedy corporate landlords. This plan does something about that. Our people are paying high prescription costs, fighting their private health insurance to pay for their treatment recommended by their doctors. This plan does something about that. Our people are struggling to pay.
Everyone, but the next up, I want to introduce the incredible Representative Chris Deluzio, who is serving in a conservative district with populist ideas and really bringing it home. Chris Deluzio.
Thank you, Madam Chair. American people are pretty sick and tired of getting ripped off, seeing powerful big corporations price gouge, junk fees, all of it. I think we all are too. I think an important part of this proposition agenda is breaking corporations' hold on our economy. It is costing people money every single day. The goal is simple, it's popular, it's to make life better, to make life less of a ripoff, and to take on the corporate power that has been ripping people off and price gouging. I could go through and spend the whole 2 minutes talking about examples of where we see it. Airline refunds, junk fees. What are we doing instead? We're capping insulin prices. We're giving Medicare the power to negotiate those drug prices. We're funding high quality and good childcare. We're taking on fights against shrinkflation and greedflation. Now, how do you do that? Well, you take on the biggest, most powerful corporations. You make the billionaires in those corporations pay what they owe in taxes, and you get real competition back in our economy. Now, there's some contrast. Our Republican counterparts, that's these guys. Republican Study Committee, 80% of House Republicans. You know what they want to do? They want to raise the retirement age and Social Security. They want to take away the power of Medicare to negotiate drug prices. And why do they want to do it? So they can keep tax cuts for billionaires and corporations. You can't make this stuff up. Now, we have a different idea. And look, I represent a competitive frontline district. These economic policies are going to bring down costs, and they're resonating with folks across party lines because they're popular and they're good policies. People hate getting ripped off. And our Republican counterparts right now, for a long time, they're the party of allowing big corporations to rip people off. That's the contrast. So when we have majorities with the White House, we're going to pass bills that'll promote competition, that'll make life more affordable for folks, and it will take on the corporate power that has made life expensive. It's as simple as that. Thank you.
All right, Chris. Thank you so much. And next up, we have the incredible Representative Jimmy Gomez, who I think has brought Hodge here as well to see you.
Thank you. Hello. Hodge, you're good? All right. All right.
Okay, running away now.
First, let me just thank the Progressive Caucus. There are two issues I want to highlight out of this proposition. A retreat with Ways and Means members. And the retreat, we had different economists. One of them was Jack Lew, who's former Secretary of the Treasury. And he said that the growth of our gross domestic product is being dragged down by two issues. He didn't say high taxes on the rich, high taxes on corporations. What he said was childcare and housing. And the reason why is that when it comes to childcare, families are starting to pay on average 26% of their pre-tax income on childcare. And now, for the first time in the history of this country, the average American is paying more than 30% of their income towards housing. So if you actually just add those up, do some basic math, close to 60% of the cost that families are paying just to live, just to take care of their families, just to get ahead, goes to two things: childcare and housing. And that is literally bringing billions of dollars out of the economy and dragging not just our working families down, but our whole economy down. Think about that. And when we deal with those issues, we can actually help spur economic growth. And that's what it's about. Last year, as a Progressive Caucus member, I started two caucuses. One was the Dad's Caucus, which were 36 members strong. Yep. Started with Hodge, and we're also with Rashida Tlaib as one of the co-founders. And then we started the Renters Caucus. And it's because these are the issues that the American people are talking about. Yeah, are talking about. So we're going to take on this agenda. And when we do that, and I want to point out two things. One, they're moderate members, Chris DeLuzio and Frontline Districts, and both the Dad's Caucus is also the Renters Caucus. And it's because that's what the American people understand. No matter how much you increase their wages, if the cost of rent keeps going up by double digits every year, there's no way we can keep up. So we're going to have this agenda leading by the Progressive Democrats, but we understand one thing. When it's time to make sure that we get the best deal possible, I know Pramila Jayapal is going to do that. So I want to just say thank you. We're going to win this election. I can't say, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that here, but we're going to win this election, and we're going to put forward this agenda that's going to, I think, blow people's mind. Okay, right? Thank you.
Give it up for Jimmy Gomez and Hodge. Okay, next up, we are so grateful to our nurses who have been on the front lines. Let me introduce to you Julia Santos from National Nurses United.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julia Santos. I am representing National Nurses United, the largest union and professional association of registered nurses in the country. The CPC's 2025 proposition agenda is centered around the needs of workers, struggling families, and our most vulnerable communities, and their ability to be able to live decent and fulfilled lives. It includes common sense policies to expand workers' rights, to lower living costs, and to rein in greedy corporations. I want to thank the CPC for continuing to stand in solidarity with nurses who are still experiencing a most severe nurse staffing crisis. Nurses across the country have been standing up to powerful hospital corporations to say enough is enough. We need safe staffing ratios to protect our patients. We need strong infection control practices in our workplaces to prevent our colleagues from getting sick and dying. We need to hold our hospital employers accountable for failing to protect patients, nurses, and our communities in their profit-making decisions. NNU stands ready to fight alongside the CPC to win these and more basic protections and resources that should be guaranteed to everyone. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, they have called votes, but we're going to go through. And so, colleagues, 1.5 minutes if you can.
That was totally like a
And let me introduce. We have so many incredible members, but you just don't get more incredible than the ranking member of the Small Business Administration Committee, Nydia Velasquez from the great state of New York.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Pramila. And thank you all the activists back there. This is an inside-outside job, right? Work, game. So we are here because of the work that you've done. And Pramila, for your leadership. It is great to join my Progressive Caucus colleagues to talk about this tremendous agenda. From boosting worker power to restoring reproductive rights, the CPC 2025 agenda has the potential to positively change the lives of millions. But I want to focus on measures in this plan to take on the pervasive influence of corporate power in our economy. As ranking member of the Small Business Committee, I have seen firsthand the vice grip that large corporations have on our economy. From big tech to industrial farms, corporate consolidation is squeezing out small firms and raising prices for consumers. We have seen this Congress that Republicans have no interest in rectifying this as they work to cut taxes for the top 1% and openly do the bidding of big business. The CPC agenda proposes another way. This legislative agenda will take on monopolies, establish a billionaire tax, and repeal tax cuts for the wealthiest corporations. In the process, we will create an economy that works for small businesses and working people, not just billionaires and big businesses. After all, small businesses is big business in this country. Last Congress, we made great progress in implementing progressive policies and making a difference in the lives of working families. And we will build on that in 2025 with this blueprint as our guide. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And next up, we've got the amazing ranking member of the Veterans Affairs Committee, Representative Mark Takano from California.
Wow, thank you, Pramila. Well, I'm honored to stand here today with my CPC colleagues today and outline our progressive vision because the stakes could not be higher. Just last year, this extreme House Republican conference introduced more than 50 anti-LGBTQ bills to chip away at LGBTQ rights bit by bit, some more than bit by bit. They're obsessed with targeting LGBTQ people, especially members of the trans community. These disgusting attacks require a coordinated and clear agenda to protect LGBTQ plus people in school, in the workplace, and in the eyes of the federal government. CPC has made clear that our commitment to LGBTQ plus people in our 2025 agenda. This commitment to protect, the commitment to protect gender affirming care, the commitment to ban conversion therapy, the commitment to eliminate discrimination based on HIV status, and the commitment to bring My Equality Act to the floor to prohibit discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. This is leadership with moral clarity to provide justice for everyone, no matter who they love or who they are. I thank my progressive colleagues for the opportunity to speak and to speak to the promise of the day when LGBTQ plus people can live free from hateful rhetoric and policy. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And next up, I'd like to invite Mayar Sarur, the Director of Beyond Fossil Fuels Policy at the Sierra Club.
Thank you so much, Chair Jayapal, and thank you to all of the members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus for your leadership in putting forward a bold vision for policies that create a more just and equitable world. My name is Mahiar Saru. I'm the Director of Beyond Fossil Fuels Policy at the Sierra Club. The Sierra Club is so proud to have worked closely with the CPC to pass the historic Inflation Reduction Act that provided critical investments to combat the climate crisis, protect communities, reduce air pollution, and protect public health. But as so many folks have already said, the work is far from over. We must build on the Inflation Reduction Act's clean energy investments, expand the American Climate Corps, and ensure every person in this country has access to clean air and clean, safe, and affordable drinking water. We must pass environmental justice legislation that ensures community input and consultation are key pillars in permitting infrastructure projects. We must electrify everything and expand affordable and sustainable transportation. We must end the billions of dollars in tax subsidies for the oil and gas industry and tax the fossil fuel industry's excess profits that we know pad the corporate CEOs at the expense of our communities. The Sierra Club and its millions of members and supporters are so proud to endorse this proposition agenda and help turn this vision into reality. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We've got 3 more amazing members. Let me call up the one and the only Representative Rashida Tlaib from the great state of Michigan.
Thanks so much to our chairman. Thank you so much to our colleagues in the Congressional Progressive Caucus. You know, there's a saying that the first African-American woman serving in Congress used to say that children can't learn if they're hungry. The Congressional Progressive Caucus knows this. Children can't learn if they're drinking poison water. Children can learn if they can't breathe clean air. That's why I'm so incredibly proud as they all join me, myself, and many of us in the Get the Lead Out Caucus, as we say that clean water is a human right in our country. No family, no child should have to live with lead in their water. In an institution that has money for endless wars, we should have money to make sure that no child is drinking contaminated water. We must continue to prioritize access to clean and affordable water for our families. We know that there is not one congressional district out there that does not have contaminated lead pipes. Access to clean water should not be a privilege, y'all. People drink it. They make food with it, baby formula with it. They bathe with it. They wash their food with it and cook with it. So that's why we're here prepared to introduce legislation to create a permanent water affordability program to stop shutoffs and keep the water flowing in our homes. For far too long, we all know that private utility companies have also continued to price gouge our residents for unreliable services. In my own district, an electrical company called DTE in my district continue to ask our families to pay higher utility bills, y'all, even as they pay their shareholders. We already see them in double-digit increase requests this year alone. It's time to make sure that we end corporate greed and make corporations pay their fair share. Our families have suffered. Children have suffered long enough from the environmental destruction and negative health impacts as corporate polluters continue to poison our communities. It's long overdue, as we all know, that to strengthen environmental protections and safeguard our public health. We must do more to require EPA to analyze cumulative impacts of pollution and permitting decisions. So incredibly important. Our frontline communities, many of us have them in our own district, especially Black and Brown neighbors, deserve the right to breathe clean air. We will continue to fight for environmental justice for all. Thank you again to my colleagues in understanding the importance of these essentials that touches every single American across our country. Thank you to the Executive Board for their leadership in continuing this fight. Thank you.
Yes. That's a lot out.
And we've saved our two Illinois representatives because we got to have the best at the end. So Representative Chuy Garcia, who leads our Transportation Task Force for the CPC, and Representative Delia Ramirez, who has been an incredible new member. Chuy.
Thank you. So there is another Project 2025 agenda that should send chills down our spines if it came. That is good for America because it has powered the country and made it the most important economy and leader in the world. That's why I'm proud to highlight the good and popular immigration policy and what it looks like, and we have the polling to back it up. It expands the legal immigration pathways that are needed to keep America strong. Yes. It expands access to work permits. It is increasing resources for cities that welcome immigrants. It is ending mandatory detention and hiring more judges and caseworkers. More people want a better immigration system in America, and most immigration reform cannot mean doing in the economy for the least amount of pay. So to the larger fight to protect workers and working people is fundamental to immigrant justice. That's why I introduced the Work Act to ban corporations from spending trillions buying back their own stock with money that could be spent on wages. And that's why I introduced the Good Jobs for Good Airports Act to ensure that all airport workers, large and small across the country, receive a living wage and high quality benefits. And on all fronts, that is what our 2025 agenda intends to do, from workers' rights to fighting climate crisis and improving the criminal justice reform and much more. That's why I proudly stand with this great coalition. Thank you. Elia Ramirez from the 3rd District of Illinois.
Thank you, thank you. And all I can say is I concur on all of it. Look, folks, since I could remember, I have gone to protests. I have been in these movements. There was a point where I would go to sleep and I would like dream that I was chanting, what do we want? Affordable housing. When do we want it? Now. So this agenda, this proposition agenda for 2025 is about affordable housing. It's about it is about making sure that we raise wages so that people have living wages. It's about making sure that we create a system where students don't have to worry about how they're going to pay for their bachelor's degree or if they're ever going to be able to get their master's degree. We know what we want because we represent all the people, and we know that it's going to take this movement here to make it happen. So let's get it done. What do we want? We want it all. We want it for all the people now. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much to these incredible movement leaders, to my incredible colleagues. We are ready to inspire people across the country to believe in government, that we can lift up working people and poor people everywhere across this country. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we are off to vote.
Yeah.